You got to develop that personality just as much as you develop that body. If you're going to have to approach, start the conversation and keep it alive those first critical minutes. Quiet at first could describe 90+% of women. Women, even the most extroverted women, are going to be quiet at first. And I always get some comment, some nerd will jump in, oh, girls talk to me first. Men who have a natural charisma, or women do actually approach, they either have a physical handsomeness that's out of the ordinary, and they're aware of that. Guys that are actually approached all the time, not one time out of 10 years, but this is what these guys will reach out. The exceptions prove the rule. And every once in a while, there will be guys that come on. I mean, almost all of us have known at least one guy who literally women will chase down, like tap him on the shoulder. Go, hey, what is your name? They want to know because they're so physically attractive. But the guy knows this is an anomaly because he sees his buddies don't want to ever talk to them. So you need to know, for your information and for your survival and your well-being, is girls are not going to approach you. They will do two things. They will put themselves in your proximity so you can't approach them. That's the first thing. That's the most that most will do. They're just going to put themselves, it's like I always say, do you want to know which girl is interested in you at a party? Just look, and if there's a group of like 3 or 4 girls, it's the one with her back to you. That's how girls hit on you, is they get in the same room with you, and then they turn their back on you. You can actually see him. Is he looking at me? Is he looking at me? He's looking at the back of my head. Is he coming over here? No? Okay. So that's as far as a girl will go. She will go into a room that you're in and turn her back to you. That's girl game right there. That's it. And they wonder why they're kind of struggling along, not meeting anybody interesting. But women will always be quiet at first. Any exceptions are an exception to the rule. So stick with the rules, especially when you're talking to 99 out of 100 women. They will be shy at first, and it may last a minute, and it may be their personality condition, and you probably want to get away from it. Girls can get away with being shy, men can't, but at a certain point, there are girls out there that just don't talk a lot. I mean, I'd say 90% will at least open up around their family or friends, because you go, God, Sarah's awful quiet. And they're like, Sarah's always talking. So she's not talking around you. She's not talking around men she doesn't know. So, and that's normal. But there is a small percentage. They just literally, they don't have any personality. I mean, they don't talk around their family. They don't go to school and talk. They go to work and they punch the clock and they do their job and they go. There's just nothing really going on behind the eyes. And that's okay. I mean, but it's not somebody you want, spending your life with and giving birth to your children. That's, it's a dangerous proposition with somebody with some levity. But that's the real deal. You're going to have to approach. You are going to have to go to them because they're not going to start with you. They're not coming to you. Guys get all bent out of shape. They're like, I lift weights and I work on my personality and I do this and I learn game. And, they should just be able to come up to me. Well, shoulda isn't going to get the job done. You actually have to take action. Women are they are genetically predispositioned to be passive, to be the receiver, just like they're built. We go out, we're active, and we penetrate, and we make moves, and we go forward. That's what we're there for. That's why it's the natural order of things. You have to approach. You have to start the conversation. And I do always say, keep it alive, those first critical minutes. It's like CPR. Sometimes you kind of have to beat on that chest for a while to get the heart going. And with girls, you got to give them a minute or two to catch up. And 99% of the time, and I say this to catch up, because most men, and they're hit on constantly, they'll tell you they're not, and they're lying, or they don't recognize it. There's so many beta men that are hitting on them on a day-to-day basis that after a while they just shut down. They're just nothing. They're like, oh no, not another one. So there's a little bit of lag time when somebody with something interesting to talk about, some charisma, some personality like yourself, introduce themselves to her and starts chatting her up. There's going to be a lag time between you starting the conversation and her realizing that you're a man worth being around. You're a man of interest, a man who's more attractive. Girls are so used to like shutting everything down. It takes a minute for the lights to come on. So you got to give it a little bit of time. And then over time, you get very good at figuring out whether she's interesting, she's boring, or she's uninterested. And the first one's great. The next two, you can just cut off the conversation and walk away. So that's a real deal. Quiet at first. I mean, you see it all the time on all the online profiles. That's why Bumble, they're changing. I mean, girls hate to make the first move, even if it's typing hey and hitting send. They can't do it. They don't want to do it. They're literally hardwired to not do that. Don't take chances. Don't risk rejection. Don't get yourself in trouble. Don't get harmed. That's how women's brains work. Whereas men, we're like, do it, man, do it. So that's why we have to take action. You see a girl that you find interesting, you have to approach. Start the conversation and keep it alive those first critical minutes. Quiet at first could describe 90% of women. So just know that. And again, what will women do that want your attention? They will put themselves purposely in your proximity. It may be standing in the hallway that you walk down every day. It may be going to a party where you're at and standing with their back to you, believe it or not. That's as much as women will usually go to. And that's okay. That's just the way they're wired. They're not built to take risks. We are. Let me see. We have a question. So Chris D, let's see.